All right, so let's discuss Andre de Grasse from Canada. And as we look forward to the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris, he, of course, is one of the main players when talking about both the 100 as well as the 200-meter dash. Now, I want to discuss three specific things today. First off, why does Andre kind of get downplayed despite all the accomplishments that he's had in the 100 and the 200 over the past decade, and how his accomplishments kind of stack up against other sprinters throughout history? And then also, I want to discuss kind of the myth that Andre only shows up and turns up for the Olympic Games and World Championships despite doing nothing throughout the rest of the season. And then finally, what is his potential as we look forward to the Paris Olympics this summer in both the 100 and the 200-meter dash? Now, first off, just a little bit of history. So, of course, Andre de Grasse comes from Canada. He went to community college before transferring to the NCAA, represented Coffeyville Community College in Kansas, then transferred to USC in the NCAA. And I think that's when he was first put onto most people's radar, at least, of course, here in the United States. Won the double sprints at the NCAA Outdoor Championships in 2015, both the 100 and the 200, and both of them were insanely fast times. Yes, they were both wind aided, but that really put him on the map for most people. Now, after that, in the summer, right before the World Championships in Beijing 2015, he actually signed a professional contract with Puma, and it was reported to be $11 million over the course of, a couple years, with the opportunity for like $30+ million, something like that. But the fact of the matter is he signed a huge contract with Puma, and that showed that Andre was really, really in high demand, and he was going to be a great sprinter. Now, shortly after that, he went on to win a bunch of different medals at various different World Championships and Olympics, all between 2015 up to 2021 at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. So he has been very, very consistent, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, on top of that, he also dealt with various injuries throughout his career between 2017 and 2018, even more recently in 2022 and 2023. Injury setbacks, prevented him from getting on the podium or even competing at the World Championships, notably in 2017. With that, let's actually dive in and talk about Andre de Grasse's accomplishments throughout his career since going pro in 2015. And really to kind of put a spotlight and question why people kind of downplay Andre de Grasse despite him being extremely accomplished. Off the bat, in the 100-meter dash, Andre de Grasse has 4 global medals just in the 100-meter dash. At the 2016 Olympic Games and the 2021 Olympic Games, he won a bronze medal in the 100, again, Rio 2016, Tokyo 2021, and then at the World Championships, Beijing 2015, as well as Doha 2019, he won a bronze medal in the 100 meters dash there as well. So we're talking about 4 global medals in the 100-meter dash.
People forget, I think I got some bronze medals from Worlds and Olympics. If people don't remember that, they always see me in the 200, but
I think this goes to one of the first points as to why Andre gets, kind of downplayed in terms of 100 specifically, where, yes, it's only bronze medals, but the fact that he's been able to win 4 medals at the Olympics and the World Championships in the span of less than 10 years, again, between 2015 all the way up to 2021, that shows some true consistency that is pretty much only matched by a few legends when we're talking about track and field throughout all of history. The only other men in history to ever win at least 4 medals in the 100-meter dash at either the Worlds or the Olympic Games, let me give you this list: Carl Lewis, Maurice Green, Otto Bolden, Justin Gatlin, Usain Bolt. So those are the only 5 men, and then Andre de Grasse is the 6th, again, to ever win 4 medals of any color at the World Championships and the Olympic Games throughout their entire career. No one else has been able to do it. So Andre de Grasse really showing his consistency and why he shouldn't be downplayed in the 100. Yes, again, it's only bronze, so people kind of overlook that, but that clearly puts him in the conversation with some GOATs. Now, on top of that, in the 200-meter dash, he's a 3-time medalist between the Olympic Games as well as the World Championships. At the Olympic Games in 2016, he got the silver medal just behind Usain Bolt, and then he followed that up at the 2021 Olympic Games in Tokyo, winning the gold medal, running 19.62 seconds. Finally, he also has a silver medal from the 2019 World Championships in Doha. So 3 medals in the 200-meter dash, 4 medals in the 100-meter dash. Andre de Grasse has really, really proven himself to be one of the greatest in history when we're talking about the sprints, both the 100 and the 200. Again, just going back to it, only 5 other men who are arguably in the conversation as the greatest of all time have ever won 4 medals in 100 meters throughout their entire careers. Andre de Grasse is one of them. Now, on top of that, looking at his times, just going back to the Olympic Games in Tokyo, where he ran his personal best of 19.62 seconds. That time at the Olympics has only been surpassed, again, at the Olympic Games by Usain Bolt, Michael Johnson, and Johan Blake. They're the only 3 people to ever run faster times at the Olympic Games. Now, all time, when we're talking about the 200, his 19.62 seconds makes him number 10 all time in the event. So clearly one of the fastest of all time. Yes, we know we kind of downplay him because you have guys like Noah Lyles, Arian Knighton, Letsila Tebogo, right? They've been running, very, very fast. They've run faster than Andre DeGrasse when talking about personal best on the clock, but the consistency throughout his career, already spoke about that. Now, the other factor that I want to take into account is his 100-meter dash, where I do think people downplay him a little bit because his 100-meter best is, of course, not nearly as fast as you might expect. 9.89 seconds is not breaking any records. It's, I think, number 44 all time when talking about the 100, but that consistency of being able to leverage that personal best to get onto the podium when it matters the most, few people have actually been able to do that. So don't let his 9.89 downplay what he's done. Now, also, just to bounce off that, in the 200, he's run 19.74 times through his career, 19.8 4 times, and then sub 20, he's hit 14 times total through his career. So in the 200, he is locked down as one of the greatest all time. In the 100, he's proven himself when talking about getting on the podium. I mean, there's an argument that he is the most consistent 100-meter sprinter aside from Usain Bolt and Justin Gatlin in the past 10 years. Listen, he is in that conversation because of the medals that he's been able to win. And yes, you can debate that in the comments. I'll leave that to y'all, but I just want to make sure that we can really highlight the successes that Andre DeGrasse has been able to put down since going pro in 2015. Yes, it's not the flashy times, it's not the 19.3s or 19.4s or 19.5s, but again, showing up when it counts is what's going to cement you in history. Sometimes people might forget the times. Not saying that, that's the case for anybody, but with Andre, he's proven himself in diamond leagues, in one-off races, and at the championships to be able to perform when it counts. So with that, let's actually talk about him performing when it counts. And I want to talk about the myth overall of Andre basically does nothing all season and then suddenly shows up at the Olympic Games or the World Championships and just drops a bomb, gets onto the podium. One thing to know is that every single person is going to peak for the Olympic Games and the World Championships. Andre is not an anomaly, right? Everyone is going to do their best when we get to the Olympic Games. Everyone is going to do their best when we get to the World Championships. Everyone is preparing not for April, May, or June. Everyone is preparing for later in July or August, right, at the major championships. So that's one thing to really take into account, that this isn't some anomaly that Andre DeGrasse is the only person to do it. On top of that, think of who we actually compare Andre DeGrasse to. Mostly the Americans and then the Jamaicans as well. The Americans, they have to turn up for the USA trials, right? They have to turn up for mid to late June, or else they're not going to be able to go to the World Championships, or they can't go to the Olympic Games. So they're going to be running fast earlier in the season, and that's going to skew our perception of what someone like an Andre DeGrasse is going to be doing when he is only turning up for the Olympic Games and the World Championships. Yes, he does have Canadian championships, and sure, he might have to qualify in some capacity, but for the most part, Andre is going to be at the World Championships and the Olympic Games. His full peak is going to be coming there. And when I talk about some of these performances that he's done through his career, you're going to understand how he's actually been making some steady progress. Now, with that, let's actually talk about some of his medal-winning seasons throughout his career. 2015, while he was in the NCAA, he was, of course, already dominating in USC. So we saw the progress coming leading up to the Beijing World Championships. So him getting a bronze medal in the 100-meter dash, that really was no surprise. Yes, he was kind of a new face on the scene. There might have been some other guys who might have been in the conversation, but we saw his progress. I think people can eliminate 2015 as a come out of nowhere, situation. He was able to show some progress. He ran, 9.75 windy at NCAA championships. He also ran a windy 9.87. He ran legal 9.95s and 9.97. So he had multiple consistent times. And then he got to the Pan American Games and he was actually the double sprint champion. So he proved himself before getting into the Beijing World Championships, where he ultimately did win a bronze medal in the 100-meter dash, tied with Trayvon Bromell in that case. Now, let's look at 2016. First off, in the 100-meter dash, during the season, he ran 9.99 seconds to win the Canadian championships. So he ran sub 10 prior to the Olympic Games. Then he of course ran 9.92 and 9.91, eventually getting the bronze medal at the Rio Olympic Games. So going from 9.99 sub 10 down to 9.91, that's not a massive drop. Yes, it's a couple hundredths of a second, but he's already shown his prowess getting onto the podium in Beijing. I don't think this was too much of a surprise. Now, in the 200, I will give you a little more on this. At the Rio Olympic Games, he got the silver medal. He ran 19.80 seconds in the semifinals in the 200, and then, of course, eventually got the silver medal behind Usain Bolt. But early in the season, he never broke 20 seconds, but he did run 20.15 seconds into a negative 1.5 meter per second headwind. So that maybe converts to just about 20 flat or so. And again, this is earlier in the season, so you could probably say that he was at least close to sub 20 early in the season. A little bit wind, in his head, so wasn't able to actually get that off. But 19.8, considering what he did at the 100 100 meters, considering what he did the previous year, I don't think it was too much of a surprise to actually see him get on the podium at the Rio Olympic Games. Now, let's move forward. 2017, 2018, he was injured, so of course didn't compete at the London World Championships. 2019, that was the next time at the Global Championships where he actually got on the podium, both the 100 and the 200. In the 100 meter dash, he ran 9.99, 9.98, 9.97, all before the World Championships. And then he went on to run 9.90 seconds to get the bronze medal at the Doha World Championships. Additionally, in the 200, he ran 19.91, 19.92, 19.87, all before the World Championships. And then when he got to Worlds, he ran 19.95 to get the silver medal in Doha. So if anything, he actually underperformed in the 200 relative to what he did throughout the entire season. So again, this myth that he, does nothing through the season, or he only is like marginally doing well and then he finally turns up for the World Championships or the Olympics. 2019 is a very perfect example of how he did very well through the season and then got onto the podium just as expected. Finally, 2021, the Olympic Games in Tokyo, Andre, again, had been very consistent throughout the entire season. He opened up his season running 9.99 seconds in April. That was his season's opener in the 100 meter dash, sub 10 as a season's opener. And then he got to the Olympic Games, 9.91, 9.98, and then 9.89 seconds to get the bronze medal in the 100 meter dash. So again, it's not like he had this massive drop. He literally improved his personal best by 1/100th of a second. Again, peaked perfectly for the Olympic Games and did what he had to do to get onto the podium. 200, the same situation, 19.89 seconds in May at the Doha Diamond League. So he's already running 19.8 early on in the season and then gets the Olympic Games, 19.73 and 19.62 for the gold medal. So again, he already ran 19.89 seconds legally in May. So he was going to have that progress. And again, he turned up for the Olympic Games. Again, didn't come out of nowhere, didn't do nothing through the season. He performed when it counted the most. Now, to highlight a little bit just some of the seasons that he didn't get a medal, right? 2022, he had some injuries there. He never ran faster than 10.05 seconds or 20.15 seconds throughout the season before Worlds. 2023, he had some injuries as well early before Budapest. Only had bests of 10.16 and 20.19 before the World Champs. So kind of looking at both 2022 and 2023, we can see the differences when he was injured and didn't get onto the podium relative to the previous years where he actually showed some strong consistency throughout the season, where he's running sub 10. He was running sub 20 before the World Championships. When he didn't get onto the podium, we saw he wasn't actually doing well. Only running 10.16, 10.05, 20.15, 20.19. That doesn't indicate that he's probably getting onto the podium, which he actually didn't. So to kind of, circle this all together, does he turn up for Worlds? Absolutely. But every single athlete also turns up for Worlds. Every athlete is peaking for the World Championships and the Olympic Games. Andre de Grasse is no different. He gives little nuggets. He runs a 9.99. He runs a 19.8. And then he turns up at the Olympics. He runs 9.89. He runs 19.62 and does what he needs to do. On top of that, like I noted at the top, when we're comparing him to some of his other contemporaries, they are going to be turning up a little bit earlier because they have to peak for the USA trials, right? They have to make sure that they qualify. If Noah Lyles doesn't get top 3 at USA's, he's not going to the Olympic Games. Same thing with Arian Nayan. Same thing with Kenny B. Same thing with Christian Coleman. All these guys have to make sure that they are ready for the USA trials. So because of that, they're going to be preparing a little bit earlier, getting their peak a little bit earlier. Andre doesn't have to worry about that as much. He has Canadian championships, but very likely he's going to be able to peak specifically for the World Championships or the Olympic Games. So kind of just dispelling this myth that he does nothing all season and turns up for the Olympics. Andre is very much just like any other athlete and makes steady progression for the most part and does what he needs to do to peak at the best times. So let's finish off and look a little bit forward. What is his potential as we go towards the Olympic Games in Paris later on this summer? Well, he's had injuries in 2022 and then also in 2023. And of course, he didn't make it onto the podium at either of those global championships in Eugene or in Budapest. But at the end of last year, he really did turn things up, specifically in the 200 meter dash. He ran 19.89 seconds and then 19.76 seconds, actually winning the Prefontaine Diamond League, which was the Diamond League final.
And I felt pretty good coming into today. So I just knew it was like last one, best one, try to give it all I got. And fortunate, I'm grateful to just come away with the Diamond League trophy and the season best. And that will bring my confidence going into next year. And I'm feeling pretty good now health-wise. And now next year, so it's a big year to contend for an Olympic medal again.
So I think that really shows that he is still in impeccable form, right? The 200, he's very much in the conversation for gold. He's a defending, gold medalist. Yes, you have guys like Noah Lyles, you have Arian Nayan, Latila Tobogo. All those guys are, of course, going to be getting the really major headlines because they have those fast times. They've, been consistent the past 3 years, really. But Andre is very much lurking. He's very much still in that conversation as the defending Olympic champion. And he, of course, is back with his, previous coach, Raina Ryder. Took some time away from him, I think, and he's back with him training. He has a great group between Trayvon Bromell, Marcel Jacobs. He is in some very, very good hands.
Of course, I've trained with Trey for many years, so it's always good to, have him, and he helps me with my craft, work on my starts, and I think he's one of the best starters out there. Now we have Marcel, so that's a new dynamic, training with the Olympic 100-meter champ. So, trying to I think me and him are good because it's we can kind of work on each other, help each other get better, and I think training's going well. We've lined up a couple times now. Coach, doesn't like to get too crazy and have us line up all the time together because it can get competitive. So we try to he wants us to work on our strengths first, and then I'm sure as the outdoor season starts, then we're going to start to line up more and be competitive against each other.
Now, would I pick Andre DeGrasse right now for the gold medal in the 200? Probably not. I think Noah Lyles is a clear favorite for the 200-meter gold. Yes, you do have Tebogo, Arian Knighton. All those guys are very much in the conversation and rising, but considering what Noah Lyles has done, he's probably the clear favorite. But if Andre went to the Olympic Games in Paris and won gold in the 200, honestly, you should not be surprised, as I would not be. Like all the accolades I noted, he has been probably the most consistent, sprinter overall between the 100 and the 200 that we've seen over the past decade since 2015. I think he is very much in that conversation for gold, and do not be surprised if he actually wins it in Paris. Now, on top of that, the 100 meters. 100 meters will very much be a challenge. This field is much more wide open than I think a lot of people, would like to consider. Yes, at the moment, Noah Lyles is probably the favorite, the edge-on favorite for the 100-meter gold as well. But if I'm picking Noah Lyles or the field, the field is very, very close, right? Go check out the series that I did, breaking down the entire landscape of the men's 100-meter dash right now. So many guys are very much in that conversation. But Andre is also in that conversation to at least get on the podium. Of course, gold may be a stretch, but personal best of 9.89 seconds. Yes, it's not as fast as some of the other guys have done, but he's been able to get onto the podiums 2015, 2016, 2019, and 2021. Like I said, only Carl Lewis, Maurice Green, Usain Bolt, Justin Gatlin, Otto Bolden are the only guys who have been able to win at least 4 or more medals in the 100 meters throughout their entire careers. Andre DeGrasse is in that conversation, and I cannot doubt him and his ability to get onto the podium. Yes, he has a slow start. Yes, his personal best isn't as fast, but the consistency is there, and he's proven himself time and time again. Now, he has explicitly said that his goal is to get the Canadian record of 9.84 seconds, which was set by Donovan Bailey back at the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, and that was a world record at the time.
But yeah, I think my goal, I want to break the Canadian record of 984, and in order to do that, I got to have a good start, I got to have a good acceleration, and the 60 is going to be a part of it. So for me, I was like, well, let me just get in the mix.
So I think that Andre actually has the potential to get down to that, from 19.89 down to 19.84. Not a drastic improvement that he has to make. He already said that, he ran the 60 meters a couple times indoors already. That's going to help him in the 100-meter dash. I think he's very, very capable of actually getting onto that podium. Now, another thing to note is that throughout the entire history of the Olympic Games, 9.87 seconds has only missed the podium on one occasion, at the 2012 Olympics when Justin Gatlin ran 9.79 to get the bronze medal in London. But every other time at the Olympic Games, at least a time of 9.87 has gotten onto the podium. So what does that mean? He only has to make a slight improvement, and statistically, he might be able to get on the podium. Now, am I saying that, 9.87 is definitely going to get on the podium? I don't know. I do think that a lot of guys are going to be turning up this year, especially considering all the talent, all the young talent, and all the, consistent talent that we have in the 100-meter dash right now. But if he's running in that range, it's very likely possible that he does get onto the podium for a third consecutive Olympics. Get him that 9.84, that Canadian record. Listen, that could be on the podium considering the field right now. So just to wrap things up, key takeaways. Andre DeGrasse is one of, if not the most consistent 100 and 200 meter sprinter that we've seen over the past decade in the sport. Yes, individually, when you're talking about the 200, Noah Lyles is definitely more consistent, but when you combine things with the 100 meter dash, getting onto the podium, Andre DeGrasse is that guy. On top of that, he gets overlooked because he only has bronzes. He only has a personal best of 9.89 seconds, but his consistency of getting onto the podium is unmatched and only comparable to that of a few legendary guys in the history of the sprints. Finally, there's this myth that he doesn't do well throughout the season. He's kind of quiet. He doesn't really run fast. And then he turns up only when he gets to the Olympics and World Championships. That is completely false, as he has been able to really put down some good markers, some consistent times throughout each of the seasons that he's gotten onto the podium and show up when it counts. Every athlete is going to be peaking for the Olympics and the World Championships. Andre DeGrasse is no different. Of course, he is very much in the conversation for Paris, but let me know what you think about Andre DeGrasse and his potential as we look forward to the Paris Olympic Games. Do you think that he is going to be able to not only get on the podium in the 100, the 200, both, or either or, maybe only one, but do you think that he can actually win a gold medal? Can he defend his 200-meter gold medal? Can he win a gold medal in the 100-meter dash? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be back again next time, y'all. Thanks for watching.